Go.
Alright, welcome back, Animal Watts Warriors and Algebra 2 classes. Hope you guys did really well on your summatives. Today we're actually going to cover linear equations, and we're going to describe what inverse operations are. So just remember there are four concrete operations, which are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So my partner here, Mr. Roane, is going to actually explain what inverse operations are.
So what are inverse operations? Inverse operations are the operations that reverses the effect of another operation. So for example, addition and subtraction are inverse operations because you add 3, you start with 3, you add 2, and you subtract 2, you get 5, and you subtract 2, you're back down to 3.
Alright, so the next inverse operation that we're going to cover is actually, we're going to go into multiplication. So I'm going to use the same number similar to what my partner here just used. We have 3 times 2. That is one operation, and it would equal 6. But we take 6 and divide it by 2, and we would get back to our original 3.
Alright, and there's one more inverse property we need to talk about, and it is the square root. The inverse of the square root is squaring. So for example, the square root of 25 is equal to 5 because 5 squared is equal to 25.
So let's just keep in mind that in all cases we are taking the opposite functions of the mathematical operations. So let's go ahead and practice solving some problems using these operations. So we have problem x plus 4 equals 24. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually try to get x by itself on one side. So to do that, we're going to take the opposite of positive 4, which is a negative 4. We're going to subtract, and we're going to have what we do on one side, we do to the other. So we would get x equals 20. And don't forget, you always box your answer.
Alright, let's practice another one. Let's have 18 minus x equal to 32. This one's a little bit trickier. If you want to keep x on the left side, you can subtract 18 from both. And we should get, we don't lose our negative x equal to 16. You have to get rid of this x so we can divide by -1. -1. These two cancel out. And we end up with x is equal to -16.
Alright, perfect. So I'll go ahead and start covering, we're going to go into the division and multiplication. So one example of a division problem would be, we have x divided by 3 equals 4. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to have to multiply it by a different property. So 3 over 1. It's the same thing. And we'll go into that into more detail in class. And we'll multiply this side by 3 over 1. Which gives us x equals 12. And that's what we would get. We would box our answer.
Alright, let's try a division one. If we have 5x equal to 25, we know that the inverse of multiplication is division. So we'll divide by 5 on both sides. These 5's will cancel out, and we're left with x equals 25 over 5, which means x is equal to 5.
Now we're going to go ahead and get into some two-step problems. And now these two-step problems, they are a little bit trickier, but we're not learning anything new. We're just going to be changing around some of the extra signs and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the original problem is going to be 14x minus 13 is equal to 9x plus 1. So So what we want to do first is get all of the x's and all of the other numbers by themselves. So we can start off with one easy way. We're going to get x on the left side. So we're going to add 13 right here. It's the opposite of a subtraction problem. And we're going to add from one side what we do, we're going to add it to the other. So we do get 14x is equal to 9x, and then 13 plus 1 is plus 14. Then the final thing we would do is divide by 14. Oh no, sorry. We're going to actually subtract the 9x and get it on this side. And we would get 5x equals 14. And then you would just simplify it by dividing by 5. X equals 14 over 5. You can have fractions inside of your answers. It's just as long as you keep all of the steps together.
I guess this one is a little bit more tricky because it deals with fractions. We have x plus 2 over 6 is equal to 2 thirds. All right, our first step is to get this x all by itself. So we're going to multiply by 6 over 1 on both sides to get rid of the 6. We end up with x plus 2 is equal to 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. 12 over 3. So x plus 2 is equal to 4. One last step, we'll subtract 2 from both sides. We get x is equal to 2.
Alright, very nice. And the last thing we're going to cover, and we didn't go too much into it, we're going to go ahead and cover, I'm going to do the inverse operations for exponents and square roots. So I'll go ahead and cover 2 and 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the square root of x is equal to 8. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to have to cross out this right here and add an exponent, which is the opposite function of a square root. So this is the opposite function. So what we did is just square it, because this is a square root, this is a square. So x would then equal 36. Now say, however, oh sorry, 64. So however though, if we have this 64 and this was squared, then we would then get the opposite answer, which was originally 8.
Alright guys, hopefully this helps with your homework. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next week.